We are back. Long time no see. I am your co-host, Lyric Wills, and this is the second episode of He Said, She Said.
And this is Elliott Ashby. Of course, we're going to be talking about everything going on right now in pop culture, music. We're going to go all over the place. I want to start things off with Earl Sweatshirt because I guess he was in New Orleans and like a fan saw him, got mad excited, was like, yo, I want to get this video of Earl Sweatshirt, but didn't tell him. And so when he saw that he was being filmed, he got upset. So he walked over to dude, smacked the phone out of his hand, and dude went to Twitter, you know what I'm saying? Since he came at him with his hand, he was like, yo, I'm come back to you with these Twitter fingers. So he came back and was like, yo, when you try to meet, you know, like somebody who you've been a fan of since day one and things don't go well. And Vince Staples saw it and he responded, and Vince Staples is dope because he's just true blue.
He's the funniest.
I'm gonna try to do it with my Vince Staples way. Hey, cuz, you feel disrespected, you can get a fade from the homie. Just let me know. I'm just like, so he was escalating things up another level, saying, yo, don't be trying to come at Earl Sweatshirt. The dude was like, yo, but I'm a fan. I was just trying to.
It's like, it's cool, be a fan, but keep boundaries, maintain boundaries.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that are fans. Some celebrities are fans of celebrities, and then some celebrities aren't fans of celebrities. Kodak Black is not a fan of Tupac nor Biggie, but he wants to be compared and mentioned in the same sentence of them. I don't know, did you catch that story?
Yeah, I just feel like there's a cloud. I feel like there's a cloud of just heaviness that surrounds this man.
Let me tell you how I get stuck with the Kodak Black story, because we're talking about, hey, we're gonna do Kodak Black, right? Let's tell them. We want to do Kodak Black, and Elliott is like, listen, I think this is gonna be a you thing because his brother is dark. So I want to know how, in all of your researching and Googling and hashtagging of Kodak Black, did you get that he's a dark person? Because we're going to talk about the abominable things that he said.
Well, everything.
He's been saying some very dark things. That's notwithstanding.
Well, he seems like he has self-hatred. He seems like he has issues revolving around colorism. He obviously has inflated ego in terms of thinking he should be classed with legends when I don't even know how long the guy's been out. Mm-hmm. I only know the Roll With Me. What is it called? Roll With Me? Jesus me. Roll in Peace. Like, that's the only song that I know of. I probably know others just because the music is always playing around me. But like, to say you should be classed with legends, that was a part of it that was actually like, oh, we could have fun with that, because like you're nowhere near being classed with these legends. But when you're saying stuff about Young M.A, and then you're saying stuff about you don't mess with black girls, and you know dark skinned girls aren't pretty, and you don't even like your own skin tone, like that just brings me to a low place. Like for me, there's like literally to no entertainment value in it. It's just it's sad.
I mean, the entertainment value in it is that it's like, bro, did you just say that you think that they're trash, and then said in the same sense that you need to be recognized as one of the greats? So you're acknowledging that they're greats, they're just not great to you. And that made me think about something that Chris Classic said. I'm pretty sure at least most of our followers are familiar with Chris Classic. He's very, he's been an inspirational force. He was behind the, he was behind when H&M did the coolest monkey in the jungle, and he like did a Photoshop and it was just like King of the Jungle. He's inspired those things. He's caught the attention of LeBron because he said something very, very important. If you don't follow him, I'm just gonna give him that shout out. He said something very important back when like the Littles, when it was Tekashi 6ix9ine and all these other Littles were beefing, and I feel like Tupac and Biggie find themselves in the mouths of these living, trying to make it rappers, young rappers, as Joe Budden calls them, the Littles. No one ever pops shit about living legends, though. So let me start there. No one ever says, like, yo, I'm nicer than Jay-Z, I'm nicer than Nas. Not that Jay-Z or Nas would even respond to them. So the first thing that I kind of considered when I listened to this, when I saw the Kodak Black thing, I was like, this is like a non-effing factor. Like, it's just not even important to me. But also, like, no one ever talks about, like, I'm nicer than Jay-Z, I'm nicer than Nas. So it's like, my question is, like, why do people go after the dead rappers, the dead legends? Like, what significance does it really have?
I mean, probably because it's easier. But I see a lot of trolling in this new generation. Even if you look at what happened with J. Cole and Little.
What's the guy from Florida?
Because I like what Ebro calls him. Ebro calls them little young face tats. So that's basically Lil Pump. So when Lil Pump came at J. Cole, and J. Cole said it was ingenious because obviously he was like, you're able to build a name by mentioning yourself in the class with this other artist, and it kind of can feel something and maybe lead to something for you. And I heard someone else make the argument, they're like, yeah, but that didn't lead to any more sales for him, but maybe it gets him popping in another sense. I think when artists do stuff like this, and I use the term artist loosely, I think, you know, they're trolling. There's a lot of trolling in this young generation. Even Kodak had I think a mixtape he put out in 2016 that was called like something Biggie Pac or something, like the new Biggie Pac. He's been playing with this idea for a while, but he just seems like a troll because he said like, he put out a story about him getting into a fight, an alleged fight with Sticky Fingers, where he said that he like knocked him out and kicked him off the tour bus. And then he was making crazy comments about Young M.A. And then he's saying this stuff about how he needs to be classed with the legends and how great he is and how he's better than these people and they weren't that great just because they died. And so I'm like, are you just saying things so that you can pop on social? Like, is that to keep your name relevant? Like, I feel like there's a lot of trolling in this generation of artists. Like, I feel like the generation of artists I came up with, like, your music was like first.
Yeah, but also let's not. So my point in bringing up Chris Classic is that he said something that was important. It was just like, yo, the reality of it is, it's like for these young rappers, Tupac, Biggie, Jay-Z, Nas are not the nicest rappers. They didn't grow up on them. You got to remember, like, hip hop and music in general is very generational. So when Kodak Black, I'm like, you're 21. Of course, like Tupac and Biggie had no effect on you. And then on top of that, let's not forget, Kodak Black is from Florida. Music is like pretty generational too. Like, granted, Biggie and Tupac were superstars, but like the same way you're not catching like reggae, you're not hearing reggae outside of like New York. I don't even think you hear reggae in DZ. You're not hearing reggae outside of like anywhere where there's like a heavy Caribbean influence. So it's like when you put into context, like Kodak Black is 21. He grew up in Florida. He's 21 growing up in Florida. It's not the same when people from the South, like with like older generations grew up in the South and they were like, they had this access point to Biggie and Tupac and they could relate to what they're saying.
Access point, you got the internet. I feel like you're being way too generous. If someone
but that's not their level of interaction. They're not moving in these circles. Hold on, because they're not moving in circles. Like, think about who their friends are. Their friends are not listening to Tupac and Jay-Z. Like, that's not, or Biggie. That's not what they're doing. When we were growing up in school, we have older siblings, we have older cousins. Those people were teaching us about it. If my cousins didn't put me on to like Tupac, Biggie, Jay-Z, and Nas, like I would have had to find out that stuff for myself. Nas, with the exception, I'm from Queens, and so that was a heavy influence. I was like influenced by LL, but that's because I grew up next to his grandmother. Like, I would not have known who LL Cool J was because LL Cool J, I was 6, 7.
Yeah, I still think you're being too generous. I think the distinction, I think people used to get mad at young rappers when they would say, I don't know such and such person's work. I think what you're saying right now would be an explanation for someone saying that they're not familiar with the work. For someone to say that I'm better than these people and these people are only legends because they died, that has nothing to do with where you grew up. That's just general disrespect. I'm not saying that I'm not supporting what he's saying. I'm just saying that what you see as trolling, I'm like, that's his reality. In his head, he doesn't think, he doesn't have to. Like, I don't think he even thinks that.
I actually really do.
You think he thinks he's a legend?
No, I think in his head that Tupac and Biggie are not the nicest rappers. I think in his head he honestly believes that they're only legends because they died. Because he wasn't like, they weren't making music. They weren't addressing him. He was a child. He wasn't even like what the issues that Tupac and Biggie were talking about. Like, he's saying, oh, they're he said that they're fake because like they didn't live the stuff that he's done. Also, but you're a child. You weren't paying attention to what they were doing. And
yeah, I'm saying we're listening to children. So like whatever the excuse is, but I'm saying whatever the background is, like they're still children and they don't know what they're saying.
That's my point. So
they have something called the internet. No. But what I'm saying is, he's been making these references for a while. So he's had time and conversation. Like, if you wanted to know about it, you could. He clearly, like, that's not the point of why he's doing this. He's saying, his comments about young M.A., I feel like he's saying that for a reason. Like, he's doing these things for a reason, to get a reaction, to become a point of conversation.
And
I don't
even
think it's
still,
because he
trolling is the new battle rap.
1000% believes it. Like
Yeah,
I don't know that he
but
believes
trolling is the new battle rap. Also over the weekend, Us dropped to staggering like opening weekend
70 million.
box office sales.
They broke
I
a
can't
record
figure it out.
for, you know, horror movies. I guess they've never, like an original horror film has never hit this number at the box office. So.
And he set a record. I saw on our producer Langston sent us a Twitter thread. This guy named Kyle AB. We're definitely gonna leak him because he had like probably the most succinct, impressive breakdown and analysis of Us. But one of the things that he said in his breakdown, which I loved, like apparently not only did Jordan Peele open to like record-setting box office sales, but he also has his own genre now. According to Kyle AB, it is the Peelean horror, and I kind of like that. It's like its own genre of horror films, like where it's like slightly cerebral, more like cultural based, and then it's like horror. So I'm into it.
Somebody was comparing it to like Twilight Zone, because the stories are like eerie and creepy, and it's about like it's a commentary on like
on real life things.
Yeah, it's like a social
way.
commentary, you know? And I was like, okay, that kind of makes sense.
I can see that, and it also makes sense because Jordan Peele's also doing the reboot of Twilight, so.
That makes perfect sense.
Makes perfect sense, but I want to know what you thought about it.
Oh, what was my thought? I thought the movie was for nerds, like, because I feel like there's certain, you know how you listen to like.
Are you not a nerd?
I'm not a nerd in that way. I wish I was. Like, nerds see everything as like academic, like they get really deep into everything. Like, so for example, Lupe Fiasco used to rap for like regular folk, and at a certain point, he just like read too many books and stuff. And so then when you're listening to Lupe Fiasco, you have to be checking like the liner note, like you have to have like supporting text to figure out what he's saying, and some people love that. They're like, yo, listen to this verse, it's so dense. You have to like have all these different books to know what he's saying. I'm like, that's not enjoyable for me. I like to just have it like in front of me. And I feel like this movie has been richer to me in terms of like after the fact of like reading and watching all the videos to figure out what the hell was going on. I had a mixed reaction to Us because part of me thought like, yo, these were some amazing performances. There were some great laugh moments. But I did feel uneasy. I don't typically watch. People know me. I don't ride roller coasters. I don't watch scary movies. It's not my thing. So I felt like people were telling me, yo, this is a must-see. You have to see this. The same way Get Out was a must-see. You have to see this. And I was like, you know what? I don't think I had to see this. Like, it was cool, but I feel like if I like this genre of movie, then like, cool. But like, did I absolutely have to see it? Did it change my life? No. But all the breakdowns online were actually pretty cool.
I'm like, I think you find the breakdowns more entertaining than
That's what I'm saying. Like I said, it's
Yeah.
like a Lupe Fiasco verse where you find yourself looking up all the lyrics to what he was saying. So like the actual looking up what he's saying is more enjoyable than like maybe the verse itself. So for this movie, like I felt like I got a better idea of what was happening on the internet than I did in the theater. And it may be because I'm dense. Like I may not be a smart person or maybe not like the horror genre type of person. So I didn't get a lot. I had to like really read and research, but now I could do a sermon on it. You know what I'm saying? Like this is like, I'm surprised it isn't some like Baptist preacher doing a sermon on this because do you see all the parallels?
I think preachers do sermons on variations of the themes that were in that movie every
Well,
Sunday.
Jeremiah 11:11 alone.
Yeah.
The idea
know what that verse is about?
It's funny. I know what the verse is about, but I don't remember the verse offhand. But I think it was basically, you know, I'm going to bring upon a destruction that you will not be able to escape. Yeah. And that Jeremiah, the whole book of Jeremiah is really dealing with like God's people because they're deciding to do their own thing and they forgot their story. They forgot where they came from.
Who was Jeremiah?
Prophet. What else do you want to know about Jeremiah?
I'm like, I know you know. So if you guys have any questions, Jeremiah on Jeremiah 11:11, we can do a Bible study online.
No, but it could have been a sermon, right? Because the sermon would have been, what would the sermon have been? The sermon would have been like,
oh God, here we go.
The sermon would be when the old you tries to come back and take away from the new you. You got to break free of that because what will happen is you'll begin to lose your identity. Like they could have, like I'm telling you, there's so many like parallels. It's crazy. I could go on this. I'm telling you though. But like I want to know, what did you get? Because I'm talking a whole lot because I just have a lot of thoughts on this. But I don't.
You have a lot of thoughts for someone who had no thoughts on it to begin with.
Only because you guys were sending me all these links to all these videos, all these like this movie. That's my problem. My problem with this movie is that it was work. Like I had to do a lot of work even to know what was going on. I had to read all stuff on the internet. I don't want to watch a movie and you have to read.
What about the acting?
But what about
the acting? Like
I don't want to listen to somebody's verse and then I got to read 15 different stories to know what was happening in the verse or the movie.
Time download, ting ting.
Saying. I just feel like it's for smart people, and they have the little smart conversations, and I'm listening, trying to be like, and I don't know what they're saying. I don't know.
You know why that's so funny? Because that's a real thing for you. You're like, I don't ever want there to be like too many smart people in the room, and I can't join the conversation.
No, well, I don't know what's being said. I'm just like, I don't know what's, and then I just make a joke because I don't know what else to say. I don't know what you guys are.
I don't feel like you have to be smart to have appreciated the movie.
You just have to watch 5 YouTube videos, and then you're fine.
That, or follow Kyle AB's Twitter thread. I liked the movie. I did. I think there were so many things. I saw like the ideas of double consciousness, duality. Those things were represented in the. Also, spoiler alert, guys. I'm gonna be courteous enough to tell you these things because I don't want to ruin the movie for you. But there were elements of like duality and double consciousness that were played with, and it was represented by scissors.
And if you think about a scissor is basically the same, a circle and the line, so you had even symbolism within that. So all throughout the movie, when the two boys are holding up the matches, their hands are like this. Duality. 1, 1. You know what I'm saying? It was all throughout the film. It was crazy. See, because I really could do my whole conspiracy theory voice and face and just broke the whole thing down, deconstructed it. But that was my problem. The movie took a lot of deconstructing.
With that said, the movie's only been out for a few days. Happy beginning of the week. You guys will probably get this to you.
I got more notes, man.
In the middle of the week. But we
okay,
ain't got time for this.
Because the boy, instead of building the sandcastle, he was building a tunnel, right? And she doesn't eat meat. Why? Because she had to eat all them damn rabbits. So now she can't even eat meat. Now she's eating vegetarian, right? The violence of privilege. See, people are in their privileged states and they don't know how other people are actually living. And when the people who are underneath become violent, the people are surprised.
Yeah, ruin the movie.
No, we told them spoiler alert. We said we're going to talk about it. We got to talk about it.
They're not going to want to watch it.
It's also, the rapture is also being spoken about. And when they say itsy bitsy spider came up the water top, where did the spider come from? Down under. The name, what was her name in the movie?
Not Down Under.
No, what was her name in the movie?
Red. Who's her? Lupita's?
No, Lupita's main character. The second character was Red. The other one was what, Adelaide? It's a city in Australia down under. Come on, what are we talking about? You know what I'm saying? Like, it gets deep once you get into it. They were caged like animals. Now, if you think about it and Get Out, it was 2 souls living in one body. But in this, we have 2 bodies tethered by 1 soul. Because, you know, a preacher would be talking about, some of us got to do some untethering. Some of us are just tied to things we need to get completely untethered from the old you so you can become the new you. And that's going to take some violence because the Bible said the kingdom of heaven suffered violence and the violence taken by force. And it could be like a whole, you see where it goes with there's more. I have more.
Oh my God.
And then, because the mirroring and the mirrors and then they were wearing red because escape.
I'm an Earl Sweatshirt your notebook.
Escape
prisoners. That's how I feel
prisoners.
about your notes.
Because escape prisoners would be wearing red and they were escaping from the prison that they were living in. Okay. So it gets real deep. But it's like, unless you do all that work, you know what I'm saying? You're not going to get the mental mind pieces, states that you could have been getting. So it's just like, do you want to do all that? I don't. I'm lazy. You know what I'm saying? I just want to go see a movie, eat some popcorn, laugh a little bit. I don't want to be scared. I don't want to be bracing myself, trying to figure out what my life's about. Get Out, I guess for me, Get Out was like just a cultural phenomenon. This movie was like a good like suspense horror movie, but like Get Out was like a phenomenon to me. So I just don't want people to class it in the same sort of way. Like, it is no Get Out. Of course, it's a completely different film, but Get Out, I think it was a cultural moment for like us that like we as a country needed. Us is just like, it's a scary movie that Jordan Peele made. And it is entertaining, but like, it wasn't something I needed to see. Because I'm sitting there holding my stomach in suspense and stuff. Like, I don't want to do all that.
But that's the thing. I want us to be able to like, okay, it doesn't have to be an us thing. It doesn't have to always be about like black people just because a black person is directing it, just because it's like dominated, it's primarily black actors and actresses, and it doesn't have to be a black film. And I think that's what kind of pigeonholes us and limits our opportunities in the entertainment industry. So like, Whether it was a mediocre film, I'm happy to have a mediocre film. I'm happy that we get to have a privilege of having a mediocre film, because why does everything that black people got to do have to speak to slavery or sleep to the like?
No,
why is that
cool.
our job? Why is that our undertaking?
Winston
Like, why can't we just look at the world like we see the world like? And that, speaking of double consciousness, I mean, for me, I say all the time, like after a certain time, I stopped. It came to my revelation that like, oh, there's a way to be lyric, and then there's lyric like the black woman, like, and those are two separate things. Are there two of you? No, but those are two different realities.
You got to
like,
get untethered.
I know, I'm fine. I'm an untethered soul. But those are two separate realities. So like, I also feel like there's a double consciousness, or a double standard rather, like with our expectations from like black directors, especially like Jordan Peele, because he gave us Get Out and it was like culturally relevant. Like, this one doesn't have to be about culture. It could just be his perception.
No, I'm just saying I didn't need to see it, because for my thing is, this is a film within this genre. It wasn't something that felt like it was beyond genre where I had to see it. If you like these types of films, absolutely go see it, support the film. I'm happy I supported the film. Mm-hmm. But Winston Duke said that we are fighting for nuance. The fact that, you know, you are seeing people fill these roles. It was good just to see them as a family. You know,
yeah,
just
and it was good to see a black man play a corny family guy.
Like Homer, be like the dumb dad that just doesn't get it. So was the son? So the son? We think the son was also from the dark side.
He trying to ruin it for the people.
We said at the beginning that we were going to talk about.
Okay, yeah.
You think we're going to do a video about the movie and say that we're going to give spoilers and then not talk about it? Like,
do I think Jason was switched?
I think it makes a lot of sense.
I think it makes a lot of sense because he couldn't perform the magic trick. He couldn't do the trick.
Couldn't perform the magic trick. He was digging tunnels.
But you forget when they got out the car, when Adelaide, Lupita's good character, got out the car.
I didn't forget.
And they were watching the car, and he was like, and the how are we going to define these? The inverse Jason, the bad Jason, was standing in front of the car. He was trying to do the magic trick. He couldn't. And then the son Jason was in the car and was like, wait, this is a trick. It's like, how would he have known it was a trick? Mm-hmm. So he got out the car.
Walked him into the fire.
And another representation of duality. He's like, oh, this is him mirroring me. So let me take control of the situation and mirror him. And so what he did is he got out the car and he like slow walked, and he backed the alternative Jason. I know you like my slow walk. I'm gonna teach you after the thing. Just gotta make sure you can get your shoulders right, because it's all in your shoulders. You gotta hit that little body roll. So little Jason, body roll back into the fire. Like, if I'm gonna go to hell, I want to body roll into hell. This is stupid. Okay, I'm done.
Thank you. Thanks for watching another episode of He Said.